We are going to work on the primary and secondary sources 2 worksheet. This will be just part 1, which is numbers 1 through 10. This one's a little bit more in depth because we are not just putting primary or secondary, we are putting our explanation. We want to briefly, no more than 1 sentence, put why, our support for what we chose, why we chose what we chose, primary or secondary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put down the primary or secondary, and you are going to have to write out your explanation. So you're responsible for that part completely on your own. Okay? So if you need help, let me know, but I'm not going to put those answers for you. I want to know your thinking. It's a little difficult to do that, right? To really understand how you are getting the material while we're not in person. This is not at all like normal class. I know we talk on Wednesdays, but that's still not the same as being in school every single day, where I can really work with you and see what you're understanding and what you're struggling with. So let me know if you're really struggling with this, because you have to be able to support your answer. Just giving me an answer without any kind of support, that's like half the battle. I need to know why you think what you think. Okay. So again, I'm going to tell you, go through this and explain if it's primary or secondary. You are going to be responsible for the second part here, which is putting in words why you picked what you picked. So remember, really quick, primary is from that time period, secondary is not. So, number 1, a web page talking about how life may have been in ancient Greece. That is definitely secondary. I'll put because ... to remind you. You have to tell me why. Number 2, a radio recording of Walt Disney talking about Disney World. That's him talking about his own creation. That would be a primary source. Because ... Tell me why. Number 3, a newspaper article from 2001 describing the Great Depression in the 1930s. So, if they're talking about something that happened way long ago, it doesn't say they're interviewing anybody in the newspaper. The newspaper, whoever's writing the article, they're not interviewing anybody from that time period. They're just talking about it. So that's going to have to be secondary. Because, and if you disagree with something that I put, if you think, well, no, that's primary, tell me why. Your explanation may make me change my mind. Number 4, an autobiography about William Seward. He's the guy who purchased Alaska, right? That was a big deal. If you don't know about that, look it up. It's a pretty cool story. And so an autobiography is a story written about somebody's life, written about somebody by that person. So this would be a story about William Seward by William Seward. That is a primary source. Because, tell me why. Number 5, your parents describing how pilgrims came to America. Your parents were not around during that time period, so they had to research pilgrims to tell you about it. That's secondary. Because. Number 6, a painting by Leonardo da Vinci. That is primary. Because. Tell me why. And number 7, a letter from John Smith about his meeting with Bahatan Indians. So John Smith, we will get to that briefly in class. So he went and he met with the Bahatan Indians, the Native American group. He is telling about that in a letter. That's a primary source. Number 8, a textbook describing the Great War. Anytime that's a textbook, and so that's secondary. Number 5. Number 9, a college professor describing how the Pilgrims lived. They were not around during that time period, so that's going to be a secondary source. Because. And number 10, a reporter describing his time in Iraq. So he was in Iraq whenever he was working. So he is telling you about all his time spent there. That's a primary source. So that's 1 through 10. If you need to go back and watch this or pause and write these down, that's fine. But remember, you are telling me the because. You're filling that part out. I'm not telling you the why. Technically, I'm not writing down the why. Technically, I told you the explanation for each of these. I just didn't type it out. So make sure if you get stuck on one, go back and watch the video again. Pay attention to what I said. And if you're still confused, please let me know. Okay.